I don't remember not being in agriculture. That's where I've come from. Fourth generation farmer here.
My grandfather had a farm. My dad farmed.
We have plowed this ground. We have sprayed this ground. We have added synthetics to this ground. And I venture to say that I don't know if there's any worse ground in the nation, actually. Lots of diesel, harvesting expense, synthetic fertilizer expense.
Pesticides.
And when you put those three things together, that's 80% of all your expenses.
I think that we had already started considering needing to do things differently, but we were watching Kiss the Ground, and I think that was the light bulb moment where we went, maybe this is our answer, maybe this is our way.
I see the ground as a living organism now. So what the ground tries to do is cover itself, protect itself first. It tries to send water by some of these grasses that the cattle don't eat, but Old World Bluestem is benefiting all the grasses around it because it's storing so much more moisture. So we start to understand this process and realize that we've actually killed off the living part of our soils that we need to have. And so when we bring this part back into it, the differences, the health, the vigor of the plants, everything changes.
We're used to seeing the grass in the pasture. We're used to seeing yucca and maybe some cactus. We're actually seeing a lot more of the forbs and the wildflowers and things that I remember as a kid seeing out in the pasture that are coming back. You know, one of the soil health principles is to increase diversity. We've always run cattle, and so what do we add next? And so we started with the chickens. And that has just steadily grown, because what better fertilizer than chicken poop? And that's kind of where we started. And then the next level of diversity, we went with the sheep, and that's actually been a lot of fun because the way that they impact the ground is different as well. Right now we're just selling pastured eggs. Definitely next year we want to expand into the meat chicken market.
What we're trying to do, I'm trying to change this farm into raising from commodities to something we can be very proud of, and we know where it's come from. And when somebody eats my eggs or somebody eats my lamb, that is real nutrition.
I think we've forgotten that God created this whole world and everything in it to cooperate with one another, and we've become so disconnected with that and forgotten about those principles. We'd call it ecology, but it's really how the whole world, life and non-life, work together. And yes, it's a holistic approach. It applies to us personally, but it applies to our animals, it applies to the crops that we grow, it applies to the soil.
So for me, this is like a life purpose right here. So my future is going to be to do the best we can and see how far we can take this ground out in eastern New Mexico. I realize we just got started, but the difference that is being made on such depleted ground, I don't know what this ground can be like in 10 years. I'm excited. I want to see this place back like somehow where I can remember it as a kid, maybe even better. I think I can push it on even better. And this comes from, I don't know if you want to call it an awakening or what regenerative ag has done to me, but that sunrise every morning tells me to live that day. Do the best you can. Don't worry about the rest. Live that day.